now we're going to be in part 2 of the series, going over generally the history of Gillette razors. Today I'm going to talk about basically the 1930s, but also extending into a little bit of the 40s, because there's not a whole lot of difference in what was going on in the 30s through the 40s until you get to kind of the end of the 40s. So kind of the beginning of the 1940s we'll touch on, but the next in the series will be, after the war years and the developments in the late 40s, early 50s. Received a little bit of criticism from some of the group folks on Facebook. They were anticipating I was going to do a comprehensive review, and some people got upset because I didn't go over every single razor of the teen years and the 20s. There's just no freaking way. First of all, I don't have them all. There's all kinds of variations, and that's the way in this series it's going to be, is that there's all kinds of variations of handles and different styles and things. And this is just from my collection, what I've got. I've got a fairly decent collection. It covers a wide range of things. But I just want to give you a flavor of what was going on in the progression of Gillette razors. Going into and this isn't going to be in any particular order. I'm going to talk about 4 razors today. Whenever I first started getting into collecting razors and learning about them, was really interested in the Gillette old type. Really intrigued by the open comb design, and that was kind of one of the first ones that I obtained. And then once I got that, I was interested in the other open comb razors because I got such a good shave from the Gillette old type. I thought, wow, the new improved ought to be a little bit better. The new ought to be even better. Maybe not so much. You got to remember one thing about Gillette. It was marketing. It wasn't so much were they developing a better razor in many respects. They got it right in a lot of different points. But the bottom line was sales, marketing, getting new customers to sell their razor blades. One of the biggest developments that Gillette did in the 1930s was come into what we now know as the kind of standard of many razors that's held true, and it's the what they call the one piece. And another thing about terminology. I got some criticism about terminology. Whenever I first started obtaining razors, there was a lot of people that called the old type the old style. So to me, it's the old style. And some of them say, well, you shouldn't use the word base plate. It's a guard. How many of you know the bottom part of the razor is called a guard? We call it an open comb, we call it a straight bar. There's all kinds of terminology, and that terminology evolves over the years. So you just have to learn and adapt to what's going on, and quite frankly, I'm going to call things what I want to call them, and it doesn't really matter whether it was pure to the time period of what they called them. It's what we call them now and what a lot of people know of as now. This was never called a butterfly razor, but that's what we know it as today. A butterfly. Opens up, closes. They call it the one piece. The one piece razor. You put the blade in and you close it. This is a 1934 Aristocrat. It's been replated in rhodium. There was some rhodiums. There were some gold. I'm not certain about silver or nickel, but probably so. They're just all different variations. They were made in Britain. They were made in the United States. Sometimes razors were made in Canada. Just a lot of things going on. But the bottom line was Gillette wanted to increase their market size. They stuck with the open comb style, but created it in a one-piece butterfly twist to open. I'm going to do first pass, or at least partial pass, with this one, and then move on. But the 1930s Aristocrat, made in the early 30s, early to mid 30s, and it was, for the time, revolutionary. But more than anything else to Gillette, it was another marketing tool. Another way to attract. And of course the Aristocrat was a little bit more expensive razor for the time. I don't know exactly what the price was. But there we go, first pass. Again, they were dealing with a market of guys primarily using straight razors. So the feel of the blade against the face is pretty prominent with this razor. Later on, during the 30s, they created different ones. There was the Senator, and they had different handle designs, different makeups with that. Senator and Sheraton. And if you want to find out more about the history, just go to just type in and Google search Mr. Razor. They've got pictures of them. They've got links to date history. This razor is pretty aggressive. Far more aggressive than the later Aristocrats. You can feel the blade. And if you're not careful, it'll reach out and get you. $1934 Gillette Aristocrat. Beautiful razor. Someone told me to try to put my hands behind whenever I tried to get up close. I don't think it's going to make any difference with my camera. It's just, my camera's old, it's tired. I need a new one, I can't afford one, so we just deal with what we got. Okay, the next is not the next in the progression. In fact, the razor I'm going to do last was actually began production in 1929. But another factor of anything but the Aristocrat, the Aristocrat has got some numbers. They're serial numbers, but a lot of razors in the 1930s and 40s did not have any serial numbers whatsoever. So it's kind of hard to figure out, okay, this specific razor, what was the date? So most of the new, not the new improved, but the new, and there's two types of new. There's and two, they had different varying base plate guard designs, but most of them look like that. And this one is what has become known as a short comb, and the one on the here has become known as the long comb. I don't think they were ever called short or long. There was the Milady razor that had a longer comb, and it was produced real early in the 1930s. But so is this one, I believe. So we start off with the short comb, classic 3-piece. It's got the slot. Let's see if I can get this off here without. This one is copper. It has a copper top, and there was a lot of varying. There was some that were all copper. You can see over here, and this one's got the little bitty tabs right there. Some of them didn't. Like I say, there was just a lot of variations. In the early 1930s, there was another razor called the Goodwill razor, and that razor, in the top cap, had little kind of square cutouts, and the bottom cap had little squares that inserted in. I never did get one of those. Never tried one. The new improved, the short comb, I actually feel like it's a little bit more aggressive than the other new versions. I believe that the long comb is a little bit milder, although it's still a fairly moderately aggressive shave. You don't feel the blade quite as much with the Gillette Nude. It's not so much milder, it's a smoother shave. The long comb, whenever I was doing experiments with the Persona 74 blade, this was about the only long comb razor that I felt like I got a good, comfortable shave with. And of all of the new styles, new improved, new short comb, new long comb, I believe the long comb is the most comfortable shaver. Again, it's very much like the short comb. It's got the little slot. And the slot at the bottom and the little tabs. Okay. Now, probably one of Gillette's most prodigious razor. Probably the razor that has been that was in production the longest. And that's why there's a lot of variations. There's a lot of different handles. There's a lot of some were made in different materials. but the Gillette Tech. It is a closed comb, closed bar razor. It has the triangle, but the top cap looks very much the same with the slot and the little tabs. This razor began production in 1929 and wait a minute. I think I'm getting my dates mixed up. Let me think. Now, this razor was I believe it was 1938. Began production in 1938. Yeah, that's it. It began production in 1938. I'm trying to think which razor was it that they started production in 29. It may have been the new that started production in 1929. But the Tech was produced over 40 years. Began in 1938 and was still being produced in 1979. The thing is, there's no serial numbers on them. So quite frankly, you don't know what you got. You just have to look at kind of the design variations, look at pictures, look at ads. Real hard to date. The Tech is very smooth. It's relatively mild. But like I said before, in a previous video, what I found is particularly with a heavier beard, more days growth, you can actually get a really fantastic shave with a Tech. I think it's a daily shaver. The Tech is mild enough that it may just not have enough beard growth for many people. It doesn't for me, to feel like I get a real close, efficient shave from it. But it's a very good razor. It's a very good beginner's razor. It's a razor that there's a lot of them out there, so if someone is looking to get their first vintage razor, a Tech is not a bad way to go. Now, for those of you that are interested in getting an Aristocrat, only if you like a very aggressive razor would I recommend going for this one. Collector's value, yeah, it's neat to have, but it is a fairly aggressive shave. The new long comb, yeah, if you like the open comb design, or interested in trying an open comb design, a long comb is a very good choice. Short comb, like I say, just a tad more aggressive than the long comb. Not quite as aggressive as new improved. And the Tech, a lot of them with the fat handles. They can also have the ball end and various other designs. I'm not even sure where this design came from, but you can find all kinds of different variations of handles with these razors. So that does it for this edition. Stay tuned for the next edition, where we'll be getting into razors of the 1940s, possibly early 50s. Not a whole lot going on during the war years. They continued producing. They was still selling razors, still selling razor blades, but the emphasis, I don't think, was on developing kind of new things quite yet. It was only a few years after the war that they started bringing out some new things. That's about it. Wrap it up. So until next time, have some good shaves. Work hard at being happy, but definitely be safe. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.